everyone, it's me, Fagenstar, and welcome to the final part of my low-poly PS1 style Gengar Gijinka tutorial. Now in this part we will be posing our character and doing a simple turntable animation and rendering it out in a PS1 style. So to start out, let's go ahead and pull this down a little bit, click on this to go to render preview, and then make our rig visible, and then just go ahead and pose our character. Now what I'm going to be making is I'm going to be doing sort of hypnosis type pose, since Pokemon Gengar does learn the move hypnosis, so I thought that would be a cool pose to do with her. Okay, so now that I've got her body pose, go ahead and hide the rig again, and then go in and add a cylinder. Tab into edit mode. Well, first let's go ahead and delete this and make sure that we see add cylinder, and let's make this a lower poly cylinder, maybe about 12 divisions, since we don't need all those extra divisions. Then we can tab into edit mode, pull it out in front of her like that, pull it up, rotate it, then inset this face in like this. Delete that face. And then delete all of these faces. Grab this. Hold that in front of her like that. Maybe duplicate it and scale it up, and then duplicate a couple and scale them up like that. Now to make it a little bit flat, let's go ahead and grab this one, hold that in a little bit, grab this one, hold that one out a little bit. And then another thing we can do to make this look a little bit less flat is grab these inner edges and hold them in a little bit, and go. It's looking pretty good. So we can go ahead and shade that smooth. Then make sure we grab this, go into material properties, add a new material. Let's click on surface and change it to emission. Then I'm going for kind of a pink color, like that. I'm going to change the strength to 5. And then go into this tab, render properties, and check a bloom. Alright. So, now we've got our little effect done. Let's go ahead and set up the turnaround. But first, let's save this as... Gonna save this as Gengar Hypnosis. Because one thing that I like to do is I like to save out sort of any like poses or animations that I do as separate files from the like rigged character. So then that way, if anything goes wrong when I'm posing the character or whatever, I just have the clean rigged file. And also just in general, I feel like it's a good idea to have just the clean rigged file set off to the side, because otherwise you have to unpose the character and undo all the effects if you want to do anything else. So, okay, so with that done, let's go ahead and go to Add, Curve, add a circle, scale this up to a nice big size, like that, grab the camera, hold this little, click on that little arrow to pull that out, or you can press N. Go to View. We'll go to Item. And change rotation to 0. And location also to 0. Then pull this out all the way over here to the edge of the ring. Now let's add another object. Go to Empty and select Plane Axis. Maybe pull this up a little bit. And we can grab our camera, pull that up a little bit. And go to Object Constraints. Select Track to and select the empty. So that way our camera will be pointed towards the empty while this empty object while it rotates around our model. And now grab the camera and then the circle and hit Control P and check Follow Path. Now go to Object Data Properties, go under Path Animation and change the frames to 250. Let's go to our timeline since that's the endpoint for our timeline. Of course, you can change the amount of frames. If you only want 100 frames, you just change N to 100 frames. But personally, I like 250 because that's about 10 seconds, which I think is a good amount of time for a turntable animation. So to preview this, just go ahead and click on our camera and hit 0 on our numpad, and then click this play button, and it'll show you sort of a preview of your turntable animation. Okay. So now let's go ahead and set up some render things. So in render properties, go under color management, change view transform from filmic to standard. And then, unless you have some kind of like background material set up, set this to transparent so that it'll render out transparently. Now go to output properties and put in your resolution. I personally like to go for a nice high resolution like that, and also it makes sure to capture the whole thing in there. So make sure, like, these orange lines are essentially the bounding box of what Blender will render out. So make sure that everything that you want to render is inside of this box. And don't worry about, like, this curve or that empty. Those won't render. Okay, make sure to set your folder for where you want to render all this out to. And for transparency, I would recommend choosing the file format PNG and making sure you have RGBA, which supports alpha, which is transparency. Alright, we go and put a little save. Then let's grab our object and go to modifier properties, add modifier, displace. Click on this, press new, and then click on this. Change it to clouds. Go back to this. Change the strength to 0.25. And then change the coordinates to object. And choose the camera. And then change the direction to RGB to XYZ. And now that little thing will jitter around. Now, click on our character, add the displace modifier, go under here, select texture, set coordinates to object, and the object to camera, direction to RGB to XYZ, and make sure to change strength to 0.25. And now both our character and our little effect thing will jitter a bit. Alright. And now let's go ahead and go into our compositing. Make sure to check use nodes, drag these two things apart to give us a little bit of room. Go to add, distort, and use scale and Shift D to duplicate it. Set the first one to 0.25 and the second one to 4.096. And go back to add, filter, and pixelate and put that in between these two scales. Go ahead and save that. And then that's our nice PS1 effect. Now you can take it a step farther, which one thing that a lot of PS1 games did with their textures was they had dithering. And this is a great website for if you want to add dithering to your textures. You just go in. I'll use the body texture as an example. Just go in, select your file, and I kind of like this one. I feel like this one has a very solid PS1 feel to it, but and then also it can shrink down your texture to more of a PS1 resolution, but it's up to you. So, but now, to render out your animation, all you have to do is hit render animation, and you're good. Alright, so that does it for this tutorial. Thank you so very much for watching, and if you have any sort of suggestions for future tutorials, feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I will be happy to take a look at them. And if I like them enough, I will definitely use them in the future. I also have a Patreon if you like my work and want to support me. But of course, that's all for now. I do have other tutorials planned for this month. So, I'll see you then. Have a nice day.